A federal law or policy that has affected our town of Narragansett, Rhode Island is the Americans with Disabilities Act because many people with mental or physical impairments have received accommodations that have allowed them the opportunity to be employed.
The Americans with Disabilities Act, also known as ADA, was signed on July 26, 1990 by President Bush. ADA prohibits discrimination on the basis of disability in employment, state and local government, public accommodations, commercial facilities, transportation, telecommunications, and the United States Congress.
Another Independence Day, one that is long overdue, and with today's signing of the landmark Americans with Disabilities Act, every man, woman, and child with a disability can now pass through once closed doors into a bright new era of equality, independence, and freedom.
Disability defined by ADA is a physical or mental impairment that substantially limits one or more major life activities.
Patricia Ironeri works with disabled students at our high school to prepare them for jobs in the workforce.
I am a vocational counselor, and I work for the state of Rhode Island at the Office of Rehabilitation Services.
The reason ADA was put into place was for the returning World War I veterans. It supplied the returning men with jobs if they had any traumatic experiences in war.
That was started back after World War II, World War I, for adults who were coming back from that war who were disabled.
Since then, the Americans with Disabilities Act has made substantial progress throughout the country.
It started to broaden out, and they added folks with developmental disabilities, and then they added folks with mental health issues.
And remember, this is a tremendous pool of people who will bring to jobs diversity, loyalty, proven low turnover rate, and only one request, the chance to prove themselves.
Many businesses are afraid that allowing a disabled person to work for them would result in a loss of money towards their income.
Not only were folks with disabilities getting discriminated against because they were being let go and fired or not hired because of a physical disability that you can say, but they were also sometimes being paid less. Pay has to be commensurate with a non-disabled worker. Mm-hmm. So the expectation under the ADA is that pay is the same.
Since the signing of the Americans with Disabilities Act, much progress has been made.
Employers have a greater consciousness than ever before of people with disabilities and how to make reasonable accommodations for them, and the fact that it's unacceptable to discriminate.
I mean, I think the progress that's been made is people with disabilities are getting employed, mm-hmm. and they're getting jobs, and businesses are not as afraid.
About 30.6 million people are of working age, and of those, 57% are employed. That's good news because there have been estimates in the past that 65 to 70% of people with severe disabilities are not employed.
Under the ADA, all disabled persons are to receive the same treatment as would any non-disabled individual.
First, the ADA ensures that employers covered by the Act cannot discriminate against qualified individuals with disabilities.
It's against the law, against the ADA, for a business to inquire if you have a disability.
Although progress has been made, there is still much more room for improvement.
I think more businesses need to understand that most accommodations they're asked to do are usually less than $500. Most are free. The law states, and the standard is, that you can't cause more financial hardship. So again, it goes to that word reasonable accommodation. So that's like the two biggest parts that fall under the ADA's language that are the most enforceable. The easiest way to look at what's going on with a situation is essential functions of the job and reasonable accommodations.
When speaking to small business owners, many were unaware of ADA and what it does.
The government's responsibility to educate folks more about disabilities in general.
The ADA is a dramatic renewal, not only for those with disabilities, but for all of us, because along with the precious privilege of being an American comes a sacred duty to ensure that every other American's rights are also guaranteed. Together, we must remove the physical barriers we have created and the social barriers that we've accepted. For ours will never be a truly prosperous nation until all within it prosper.